All right, it's game number 35 for the Boston Celtics as they head to NYC to take on the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. I'm your host, Josue Pavone for CLNS Media. I'm joined by the boss of CLNS Media, Nick Gelso, who has taken the time out of his busy schedule to preview this matchup. What's going on, Nick?
Josue, why are you saying that, man? I know we're the boss. Did you see our Christmas invite list, man? I mean, you're having a Christmas party with the Celtics. You're the boss.
You going to show up to that or what? I mean, I got your boy coming through, man. Al Horford. Who'd you have? Tatum? Jason Tatum's going to come through as well? Couldn't get Mike and Tommy, though.
I had Tommy and Mike. I had Mike and Tommy. The only way I'm going is if Gorman goes. So I'll text him and see if he's good. If he's going, I'm going.
Yeah, you have to hit him up. I don't have it in with him like that. You know, that's all you right there.
Oh man, he's my hero.
All right, Nick.
Let's talk hoops.
Yeah, let's get into this. So this, Nick, I look at this Knicks team and what came out of the Carmelo Anthony deal. And when you consider how long it took to trade Melo, if you're a Knicks fan, you got to be happy with what you got in return. I mean, you got Enes Kanter. He's a solid 13-10 guy. You got a shooter in McDermott, who's been coming up big in the fourth quarter lately. And, of course, you still have Kristaps Prozingis. Do you think the Knicks have gotten the most that they would have gotten out of that deal, or do you think that they could have gotten something better elsewhere?
I think Carmelo Anthony is one of the saddest stories for uber-talented perennial MVP candidate if he wanted to be maybe in NBA history. I mean, that's a hot take, but Melo has destroyed teams systematically. If you look at where he's been, I mean, ever since Iverson, I'm not going to get too far into it. My answer to your question is, I think that the Knicks did well, especially considering the way Melo's playing.
Yeah, he's having the worst season of his NBA career in OKC right now, and everyone thought from the beginning. I mean, you look at those first couple of weeks of the season, it looked like things were going to work out in OKC, but then it took a complete 180 right after those 2 weeks.
Because he's a ball stopper. The ball needs to be in his hand constantly. That's not the way the NBA is played today. He won't conform his game. If I were Melo's agent, I would say, you know what, put your hand in the air and say, who wants me as a sixth man? Extend your career, come off the bench, lead a second unit somewhere, and do what. But his ego is just too big. I mean, all those years the Celtics were rumored to get Melo, I'm going, oh, God, please no. Please no.
Did OKC make a big mistake in trading for Carmelo Anthony?
I don't know that it was a big mistake because you think about, the season Westbrook had last year. You think about, what the potential is for Melo to be added to that team, even at his age, and he looks old at this point. And I think you kind of pull that trigger and hope for the best out of Carmelo. And again, he underperforms, underachieves, and never surprises me when he does it. He destroys teams.
So Kristaps Prozingis is on his way to making his first All-Star team. If I had to predict it, nothing crazy there. I mean, he's a franchise player that Knicks can certainly build around. Yeah, hot take alert, right? But let me ask you this, though. Is this a guy at this point in his career that you think can attract potential free agents within the foreseeable future? Or do you still think he has a lot more to prove before we're able to say that?
I think he's got, and again, not back to Melo, but the frustration with the Knicks and Melo is, you have, if he wanted to be a potential MVP candidate every year and they couldn't attract talent other than Derrick Rose, I mean, come on. So Porzingis, he should be able to be attracting free agents. It's the Big Apple. They're playing on the biggest stage on earth at Madison Square Garden. But they have just proven to be such a dumpster fire that I don't know who's going to want to go there.
This edition of the Celtics pregame report is brought to you by DraftKings.com. Head over to DraftKings.com and use the promo code CLNS for a free sign-up with your first deposit and a shot at a share of $10,000 in total prizes. That's DraftKings.com. Use the promo code CLNS and get yourself paid. Nick, am I the only one who thinks LeBron James is the only name that should be mentioned besides Kyrie Irving when we're talking about the league MVP? I mean, why are LeBron James and James Harden... I mean, it feels like they're head and shoulders above Kyrie Irving in these MVP talks. Am I the only one thinking that Kyrie should be? It's either Kyrie or LeBron James right now.
Well, it's the national media, man. I mean, Houston. What's their record now? I mean, they've blown it out of gates, right? So Houston's played really well, and Harden is the star of that team. So I think he belongs there. But to not put Kyrie Irving in that discussion is a mortal sin. I am so fed up, even with our beloved Boston Celtics fans who, obviously we love them. They keep us in business. even amongst them, some of the Isaiah Thomas lovers are saying he's not even a superstar. Are you kidding me? Kyrie Irving, you and I have witnessed him all season long. He has changed the culture in Boston. We both covered last year's locker room. That was a fun locker room to cover, right? It was loosey-goosey. And you look at this year's locker room compared to last year's, this team only has one thing on their mind: winning. Who brings that to the team? Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving hits the big shots. He's proven that he can lead a team while not having to score heavy. He has proven that he can play defense with effort. He's had some woes, but for the most part, he's been satisfactory. He's making everybody around him better. And as much as Al Horford made Isaiah Thomas better last season, Kyrie is making Al Horford that much better this season. So, I think it's typical national media BS, not putting Kyrie in that discussion, although LeBron and Harden belong there as well, in my opinion.
Look, I get it. Houston Rockets have the best record in the NBA. I mean, they've only lost, 4 games. They're on a huge winning streak. However, I think something has to be said about the fact that, Gordon Hayward goes down 5 minutes into the season. You have an all-new team, only 4 players returning from last year for the Celtics. And Kyrie Irving has led the ship, and he's had these humongous fourth-quarter performances, has pushed this team to one heck of a record as we head into tonight's game. I just feel like when you see what he had to go through and the fight that he had to do, and listen, you look, Chris Paul, I know he's missed a handful of games, so that doesn't make anything much easier for James Harden.
That's every season.
Yeah, exactly. But no, well, I'm saying James Harden not having his sidekick with him and for a handful of games. Okay, I get that. But look, Kyrie Irving came into a situation thinking that he's going to have Gordon Hayward alongside him, and he lost him 5 minutes into the season, and he's still able to perform at a high level and carry this team that averages an age of 24. This is a group of youngsters, Nick, and Kyrie Irving is carrying them.
And you're missing the fact that Marcus Morris I have no problem calling him a chronic malcontent, maybe passively, because we all know he does not want to come off the bench. But he's also been injured, and he plays a key component to this team. And you've dealt with Al Horford on a concussion protocol. I think did someone else on the team have a concussion that I'm not remembering? Maybe Aaron Baines, or no, we got Tice down with a broken nose. Brown has had the eye issue. So you're talking about a Celtics team who, and I think I touched on this with Brad, and Brad kind of rolled his eyes at me, but it's true. How in God's name is this guy, and I credit both Stevens and Kyrie, holding this team together with such inconsistent rotations because of all the injuries, and then on top of that, not being able to practice. And believe me, we're here, Josue. We know when they're practicing, whether it's open or closed. They are not practicing. They're using games as practice. All those things into consideration, you got to put Kyrie in that discussion. But the even bigger question, brother, is Brad Stevens actually going to get his due this year? Oh, and one more thing before you answer that. Not only are you dealing with the injuries, including the catastrophic injury to Hayward on opening night 5 minutes into the game, but you're also dealing with one of the toughest schedules in the NBA to start out the season. This is what happens when you take a week off to go to London. The Celtics, I think, have played 13 games in 19 nights. Or something like that. It's been insane.
12 games in 18 nights, and no other team in the league has played more games than the Celtics up until this point.
And the Celtics, up until very recently, did hold that spot as number 1 in the NBA. And in one of I think I was on the Garden Report with Jared Weiss, and I said, not if, but when the Celtics start rolling again. I do believe they will start rolling again. The second half of the season, people aren't talking about it, but it's very, very Celtics friendly. And that's because they're playing such a massive amount of games right now to fit in that week off to go to London.
Are we going to see an upset tonight?
I hate playing at Madison Square Garden, dude. It's like I'm talking like I'm lacing up my shoes and getting on the court, which would be quite amusing.
Coming off the bench?
But honestly, going back to the Bird era, not to go off on a tangent, and I won't do that to you. I know you're on a timeline here, but Madison Square Garden, unless you're Paul Pierce scoring 40 or KG hitting the game winner, I think in 2010, that place has always been an annoying place to play. So if there's going to be an upset, it would be that night. However, it would be versus the Knicks tonight. However, I have the Celtics winning this game and going into Christmas Day game, which for the first time in 60 years is in Boston, up against last year's playoff rivalry, if you want to call it, which is no longer a rivalry because nobody's left on this team that played them last year, really, the Wizards. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if there's going to be an upset, tonight would be it. Madison Square Garden, for some reason, the Celtics always show up.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. He is Nick Gelso of CLNS Media. You can check him out on the Garden Report after Christmas break, of course, when he gets back. And of course, you can check him out on Twitter. Give him a follow at CLNS_Nick. Nick, I'll see you soon, man. Have a great break.
Later, Josue. See you on the Garden Report.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Celtics pregame report. Make sure you check out the Celtics postgame show on CLNSmedia.com. You can call in toll-free at 347-215-7771 to get on the air. And you can listen to it on demand on the CLNS Media mobile app. Weekday shows air on the Celtics Newsfeed channel, on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Media mobile app. For today's Boston Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone, this is Josue Pavone signing off.